Hi, this is Jane Boyce, and I am president of Tru Vue, and I'm excited that you could join us today so we can talk about some exciting research that we conducted this past year. So I just want to give you a little backdrop on the research that we conducted. As everybody knows, in the late spring, summer of 2020, all non-essential retail was shut down due to COVID. And when retail opened back up again, kind of mid to late summer of 2020, business was pretty good. I think better than most of us expected. And we all thought it was pent-up demand and people hadn't been able to shop for several months. And that business, fortunately, continued. And we were all pretty pleasantly surprised going into 2021 about the volume that was occurring. And so we decided to do some research and understand what was going on with the consumer, what was going on with the category. And we're here to share that out with everybody. So with that, I am going to bring up the study that we conducted. Let's see. All right, hopefully everyone can see this. We did conduct this in Q3 of 2021. And basically, we wanted to understand, like I said, what was going on at retail. So who was custom framing? Why do they frame at certain locations? What are they custom framing and why? Was glazing discussed? Of course, it's Tru Vue. We're going to ask a few glazing questions. And what's the future intent? Do they have items at home still? Are they planned to be custom framing in the future? And that type of thing. So our first study that we did was actually a 10-minute online survey. We had a sample size of 400, which is statistically significant. And in order to participate in the study, you had to have an item that was custom framed in the past year in a US retail location. And you had to be the primary decision maker in the custom framing experience. So we conducted this study. It was pretty comprehensive. It was reliable from a sample size standpoint. We got to the right people. We got the study results back. And frankly, we were pleasantly surprised by a few of the answers to the questions that we asked. And we critically looked at the questions and we're worried that maybe the research wasn't constructed appropriately, because some of the answers were super positive. And so we actually went out and the really critical questions, there were 3 or 4 really critical questions, we went and did a different methodology just to make sure that the first piece of research was solid. So the second piece of research that we did was called an omnibus. It had a sample size of 1,000 people. You had to have custom framed in the past year, and the respondents had to be 18 years plus and was balanced to the census. So it was really what we call confirmation research because we wanted to make sure we got it right. So you'll see that most of this data is really the first study, and on some of the uber critical questions, we did a second piece of research on. So first I'm going to go into executive summary and just hit the highlights, and then we'll go through all of these points again with more detail. So first thing is the custom framing consumers' average age shifted downward, and a lot of people entered the category. So if you remember anything from this 25 minutes that we're going to talk about today, really it's super exciting. The consumers are younger in the category, and there were a lot of new consumers that entered in the last year. So this graphic really shows that 48% of consumers are 35 to 44-year-olds. The millennials have entered our category, and a lot of folks that framed in the last year had never custom framed before. So 46% of consumers that framed in the past year were new to the category. Super exciting stuff. Both of these two factors, and you'll see it in the detail later, are two pieces of data that we felt we needed confirmation on, and we also did confirmation on these two facts and got confirmation. So why do they custom frame at certain locations? You know, you have your choice of where to custom frame. What is the primary reason that why you choose the location that you're choosing? Quality of framing materials was the key driver. So quality of framing materials was number one. And then convenience and price are 2 and 3. Didn't matter whether you were a current custom framing consumer or a new custom framing consumer. This was the order of the choice that was made as to why you custom frame somewhere. No matter what industry, I've worked in a couple different industries, price is always in the top 3. It's no different with our industry, but quality is number 1. The other thing we found out, which was interesting, is over half the people have had custom framed something online. So there is quite a bit of crossover between people that are custom framing online as well as in a retail store. And those new to custom framing are more likely to have framed something online. So the folks that are the new millennials that are entering the category, they are more likely to have framed something online. Next question we asked is, what is being custom framed? Why did you do it? You know, so what did you frame and why did you do it? What motivated you to walk into that store? Original artwork and professionally taken photographs were the most common things framed in any research that we've ever done. These are always the top 2. This did not change with this survey. And then why did you custom frame? We asked consumers the last time you custom framed. Why did you custom frame? Gifting was the top reason for framing. So 25% of people said the last time I custom framed, it was for a gift. 21% of people said, oh, I just finally got around to it. I had the time, I had the means, I finally got around to it. And then there were other people that said that they had moved, that moving was a key reason that they custom framed. So 19% of people said that the main reason I walked in is because I had moved. So, but if you combine moving and redecorating, which I think we've all seen as a theme of COVID, it's 36% of the last occasions. So this kind of just gives us the highlights on what's motivating the footsteps into the door. And moving is particularly important for the people that are new to custom framing. So you'll see that that's a big motivator when we get into the details. So this really talks about what's going on in the lives of the custom framing consumers. This isn't necessarily why they've custom framed, but maybe it gives us some events that are going on that may be motivating them. So we asked the questions, hey, what have you experienced in the last 3 years that may result in items being framed? So 33% of people said either they celebrated a milestone birthday in the last 3 years or they attended a milestone birthday event. 18% said in the last 3 years they had moved, and 18% said that they had had babies. We asked, was glazing discussed and was it important? So, you know, obviously Tru Vue is always going to ask about glazing. It's just what we do. So we have an interest in it. But we got some really great results on glazing. The results we got said glazing is being offered through the sales process. So 80% of the people said, hey, someone talked to me about glazing. So first of all, I just want to thank everybody. We really appreciate you taking the time to discuss glazing with your customers and talking about the different products that they have available to them. And 2/3 of the people said they remembered the actual types that were being offered. So really, really outstanding that glazing is being talked about, and consumers, it's important to them. They're remembering what was said. New custom framing consumers are likely to remember the glazing conversation and just as likely to upgrade their glass. So it's exciting that the new folks into the category are as vested as the folks that we currently have in the category. And our displays, you know, Tru Vue makes a decent investment in displays, and we wanted to see were they seen, were they valued, do they have an impact? 75% of consumers walking into a retail location said that they're seeing the displays, and that 93% said that the display was impactful in their in their decision. So of the 75% of people that walked into the store, almost all of them said it made a difference. It helped me make my decision. So thank you. Thank you for the counter space. Thank you for putting it out there. Thank you for talking about our products. Really, really appreciate it. So we had around to then, do consumers have items to custom frame? So what's the future intent? I mean, one of our theories was that through COVID, all of the items in homes had been purged and there weren't a lot left. So we wanted to say, are there still items to be custom framed? Do you still intend to custom frame in the future? Got really positive responses on both of these. So the majority of people that we talked to said, hey, I still have items at home that I have to custom frame. Most of those people said they have between 2 and 3 items that they have not yet custom framed that need to be brought into a frame shop. And 62% said they'll be framing more this year than last year. And at least 30% said they'll be doing the same. So the intent is high. They've got items to custom frame, all good news for the future. And those that were new to the category had talked about it very favorably, and we will show that when we get into the details. So when we do these surveys, the researcher always gives us one page of, hey, Tru Vue, if we were you, here's what we would do. And then they always give a second page that says, if we were your customers, here's what we would do. And so from our standpoint, they came at us and said, we'd continue to invest in POPs. We would share this research with your industry. You know, those are some of the recommendations they had for us. What this page shows is some of the recommendations that our third-party researcher had for the industry, which is, hey, consider targeting younger millennial consumers. These folks are interested in custom framing. They are custom framing. And social media is super important to this audience. This is how they learn. This is how they choose. This is how they communicate. Second, they said, hey, highlight the quality of materials when advertising or talking to your consumers. So make sure you're talking quality materials. It's really important affirmation for these folks to know that they're walking into a place that has high quality materials. They also recommended that we consider marketing efforts focused on people moving or redecorating. Obviously, there's been a lot of pickup in housing in the US, a lot of people redecorating. You know, make sure that we prompt that when we're talking to consumers. Talk about things going on in their lives where they might have a custom framing occasion, like a milestone birthday or a special occasion. And then also talk about programs to bring consumers back, you know, nudge them to get back into the frame shop. A lot of them have 2 to 3 items left at home. I know that we always do this. This is a challenge of our industry, but, you know, just something that we might want to think about. And then fourth, make sure that the Tru Vue glazing displays are present and being offered. I mean, these are impactful to consumers. They like seeing them. It helps reaffirm their purchase. So those were recommendations to that the researcher had to our industry. So that was the executive summary, and hopefully you found some interesting insights in it. And in the next 13 or 14 pages, we just go through more detail on that information. So I'm just going to run through these and give everybody a little bit more context and a little bit more content on the really interesting insights that were found in this research. So this first page talks about the age of the custom framing consumer. So the primary research, that was the dedicated, rigorous piece of research that we did. The blue bar shows custom framing consumers. The red bar actually shows the consumer age breakdown. That was the entire study. So there was a large study, there was a large pool of people that we pulled this data from. And in order to participate in the blue bar, you had to have custom framed in the last year and met all the criteria that we said. So what you see is that, you know, we have over 70% of custom framing consumers are under the age of 44. This surprised us because it was about 5 years earlier or younger than what we've historically seen, which is why we did confirmation research on this particular question. If you roll over the confirmation research, you actually get, over 70% of folks being under 44. So again, the category got younger. And the bottom chart, this bottom bar chart, basically shows only the folks that are new to the category. The blue line shows the new custom framing consumers. The red line shows the folks that have been in the category for a while. And you can see that the blue line, the folks entering the category are younger. So again, really positive for the category and really excited about this large group of new people that have entered our category. But this is just a quick refresher on millennials. Just want to point out a couple of things. It is a very large part of our population. They have the largest spending power of any generational group within the US. So they're very large. They've got the most spending to do. They really love to connect via social media. It is how they connect. And most important of all, they value experiences. This is a generation that values experiences. So they are ripe for the custom framing offering. So we'll talk a little bit about attitudes and behaviors. This talks about, the question here is, what was important in choosing the retail location? And we made them force one answer. It could have been that all of these are important, but we said, what is the most important thing in choosing the retail location? And you can see here that quality of framing materials is the most important thing. 24% of people said, I want to feel that place that I'm going to get my custom framing done has quality framing materials. So just a little explanation of this chart. Blue bar is the total. Red bar is custom framing consumers that are new to the category. So people that have never framed before, but framed in the last year. And the gray bar is folks that have been in our category for, they have framed in the last year, but they've also framed previously. So you can see there are some variances in the bars, but regardless, you still had, for all groups, whether they be new or repeat, quality of framing materials was the most important. Convenient location was the second on average, but really important for the folks new to the category. And then price was third. And you can see that it's between 10 and 19%. They want to make sure that they're getting a good value. Price is the third important in this chart. This talks about new custom framing consumers. So this basically says, hey, if you framed in the last year, was this your first time custom framing? 46% of the people, when we conducted the first study, said, this is the first time I'd ever custom framed. Again, super exciting. The number surprised us a little bit. It was more than we thought it should be. It's more than it normally is. We generally don't see this high of a number in terms of first-time custom framing consumers. So we chose to look at this and do some confirmation research on it. So we put this question in the second study that we did. Ask the question again. If you framed in the last year, was this the first time you custom framed? Confirmation research actually had a stronger number. So all this says is a lot of people entered the category. We also asked of the repeat customers, hey, do you usually go back to the same location? 79% of folks, and I don't think this is a surprise to many people, once people are satisfied and find a retail location they like, there's a really high loyalty number. 79% of the people say, I go back. So lots of new people entering the category. And once you're satisfied with a retail location, repeat is high. This talks about what people were framing. Original artwork. and portraits were the two primary things that people had framed. Again, in almost any piece of research we've ever done, these are the top two. So this is was not a big surprise to us, but you know, it's consistent with history. We wanted to know what motivated people. If the category was growing, why was it growing? Why are people marching into frame shops? So we basically said the last time you custom framed, what was the reason that you got that custom framing done? So 25% of the people said the last time I custom framed, it was for a gift. So gifting continues to be strong. Finally got around to it. This has always been kind of endemic of the category that, you know, hey, custom framing takes a little bit of time. It's a dedicated store. So there always is a finally got around to it component. That's about 21% of the people said, look, I just finally got around to it. There was really nothing major that happened in my life. Moved is the third category. So 19% of the people said, hey, I moved and because I moved, I needed to get some new things custom framed for my new location. Probably most interesting in here is you look at that 30%. So again, the red bar is people that are new to the category. 30% of people new to the category said what motivated me, why I started custom framing, why I walked into that brick and mortar is because I moved. Certainly that's a big motivation. This talks about other things going on in their lives. Now, I don't want to confuse anybody. People have not said that they custom framed for these reasons. We were just trying to get an idea of what consumers' lives look like, what was happening, what might be a reason that you custom framed. So 34% of the people said, hey, I either had or I attended a milestone birthday in the last 3 years. 18% of people said I had a baby. 18% of people said that they had moved. So this is, again, this is just ideas on some things we might want to communicate around. They might be reasons for custom framing. The next question is interesting. So we have younger consumers. We have all these folks, new folks walking into frame shops. So we asked, hey, what's the satisfaction level? You know, we're trying to now get to, are they going to stay in the category? And you stay in the category if you're satisfied with it, and you stay in the category if you have other items to be custom framed. And so we wanted to say, are you satisfied? So how satisfied are people with custom framing? The first question we asked is, how satisfied are you with the process? So this was a 5-point scale. It was extremely satisfied, somewhat satisfied, neutral, somewhat dissatisfied, extremely dissatisfied. And these numbers are off the charts in terms of satisfaction. 99% of folks had top 2 box, extremely satisfied and somewhat satisfied, had top 2 box, I'm satisfied with the process. 96% said, I'm satisfied with the value. And 99% said, I'm satisfied with the finished piece. So these are just, you know, just sets the stage for a strong future, and just so excited that, you know, our industry is delivering on the promise of custom framing for the consumer. So this talks about the glazing conversations. We had talked in the executive summary. Hey, was glazing offered? This shows it. 80% of people said, yeah, glazing was offered. And then do you recall the glass or the acrylic, the specific glass or acrylic that was offered? And 54% said, yes, I do. So again, thanks everybody so much for talking about glass and acrylic and the specific choices that custom framing consumers have. It's just really important, and consumers value it. And they value the displays. I know it takes up some counter space, but they truly value the displays. we asked the consumer, was the display impactful on making the decision? So 75% of consumers said they saw a display. And of those 75%, we said, hey, was it impactful? 93% of consumers. So again, this is the 31 plus the 62. 93% of the consumers said, hey, this was super impactful. That display helped me make decisions. Of the new consumers, the folks that were new to the category, 96% of them said it was impactful. Of the repeat, 91%. So really high numbers. Most people saw the displays, most people really liked them. It helped them make decisions. Now let's talk about future intent. So we've got, new folks to the category. We've got younger folks to the category. They're happy with the process. They're framing what kind of they've traditionally done. They walked in because mostly a gift, a move, or just got around to it. Are you going to keep framing like you're framing or not? So we asked people, because one of the thoughts we had is that a lot of items were purged out of the home. We asked folks, do you have items at home to custom frame? 75% of consumers said they still have items at home to custom frame. So that's exciting. That's a really good number. And we said, well, how many items do you have still to be custom framed at home? And the majority of people said they have between 2 and 3 items to be custom framed at home. So, again, if you look at, and not a major drop off between the new and the repeats. So whether you were new to the category or whether you were repeat, we still have quite a few items left at home to be custom framed. And then we went to the question of intent. So you've got these items to be custom framed. How are you feeling about it? Do you feel, and again, this is intent. No one has given us a credit card yet or cash, but do you feel like you're going to custom frame in the future? So this is just, this chart to me is kind of mind-blowing. 97% of custom framing consumers said they plan to custom frame the same or more than last year. So the question we asked is, you think you'll custom frame more than last year, same amount, or less than last year? This is super exciting. You have a huge amount of consumers that intend to frame the same or more than last year, and only a very small amount less than last year. Really, really exciting, and speaks volumes for the industry. So with that, I just wanted to thank everybody for sitting through this time with us. I hope that you were able to glean a few insights that might help or were at least interesting. Thanks for everything you do for the consumer. They're clearly pretty thrilled at what's going on. And, if you have any other ideas for insights or research that you're looking for from Tru Vue, please just send us a note. We want to get more and more insights about the consumer to help us all drive our business. And we appreciate you. We appreciate what you do, and have a great day. Bye.